Welcome everyone to the June 20th, 2024 Board of Education meeting. I have all trustees present. We always begin our meetings with the Pledge of Allegiance. If you'd like to stand and join us, please do. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we begin this meeting with our public hearing for our 2024-2025 proposed budget. Mr. West, your last proposed budget for us.
It is my last. So we will go through this rather efficiently as the Board of Education has had an opportunity to look at this, review it in the workshop last week or a couple weeks ago. So the importance of this is, in the legal requirement, is the truth and taxation piece, the establishment as just to make sure the community is aware we are a taxing authority, and as such on an annual basis we have to review that. In order to establish the millage rates for the school district, we look at a couple of different factors. The first one being the property tax values. We did see a 6.8% increase from the 24 year to, from the 23 year. So the good news is everybody's values of their home and the values of our businesses are increasing in the community. 5-year homestead millage comparison. These are the millage rates levied on homes in the school district. You have 4 different millages. The state education tax, which is 6 mills. It's levied on the home, sent to Lansing, redistributed through the per pupil foundation allowance back to school districts. The hold harmless is a local levy that dates back to what we call Proposal A of 1994. The community levies a local millage to support the operations of the school district. And it's formulaic. It's based on an assumed enrollment and an assumed property tax value, and then you back into the rate. So we are going from last year 2.7764 to 2.7294 this year. The debt millage is based on the bonds that have been approved through voter approval over a number of elections. We are at 6.1, which is consistent with last year. And then we have a sinking fund that is levied, and it is subject to what they call the Headley rollback, and therefore it's going from 0.9651 to 0.9606 next year. On the non-homestead side, they also pay the state education tax, the statewide 18 mills, as well as the debt and the sinking fund. This gives you your total millage, homestead and non-homestead. And the official form that is submitted is the L4029. That puts everything into the legal requirements and is submitted and will show up on the July summer tax bill as well as the winter tax bills. Any question, board, any question on those? We'll just keep going.
Keep going.
General fund. So we have 2 amendments tonight. We have we have an amendment and an adoption, an amendment of the final, what we believe is going to be the final picture for the 23-24 school year, as well as we'll get into the 24-25 adoption. Here are a set of adjustments and some of the information that we used from the state source side. We have categorical funding that we adjusted. Federal sources were adjusted for the grant revenues we anticipate and expect for this fiscal year, as well as interdistrict sources, which is our PA18, our local millage, or our county millage to support the special education programming. We adjusted our operating costs to reflect what we expect to happen as we close the books from both as well as purchase services to adjust for the contractual obligations as we know them. Putting that into a chart of sorts, you can see we take from Amendment 1 to Amendment 3. Here, actually, that should say Amendment 2. So the comparison here is between the last time you approved a budget and then the recommendation here. We do anticipate, given the everything we put into the assumptions and the work and the forecasting, what our obligations are to close out this year, we do anticipate a small surplus of about $800,000. To put that in context, it's less than, well less than what, 1%. So we have $193 million of revenue, $192 million worth of expenditures. That's the amendment. So that's where we anticipate that we'll end this year. Those figures will be audited. And just to notify you, as the new team comes in, they'll inherit that amendment, and then they will close the books on this year. That audit, I have been in contact with Plant Moran, just to let you know. We have moved that back. Dan, we have moved that back for a couple of weeks, and then it may delay the October presentation. That will need to be flushed out from a schedule standpoint. So looking at the 24-25 general fund assumptions, we adjusted property tax revenues and made some assumptions on investment. Our state source revenue, this is the biggest piece, per pupil foundation allowance and the number of pupils that we anticipate having. We do project a small decline of 70 students down to 12,300. We are at 12,370 right now. Our foundation allowance, we anticipate going up by $241, which was the governor's proposal back in February. We have gotten news today that they continue to work vigorously to try to get us a budget. So these are just assumptions. We have no idea what we're going to get from the state or in what form or fashion those funds will come. Therefore, we have made some assumptions as it relates to some categorical funding and reductions in those, as you can see from the state sources, as well as the federal source revenue. We will be spending the last little bit of ESSER funding in the 24-25 school year. Salaries, we've adjusted to reflect the contractual obligations as we know them. We know that there are some tentative agreements that are going to be forthcoming, and we have made some assumptions as it relates to that and accounted for some of those expenses. There will be need to look at that a little bit closer as you modify and amend the budget going forward.
Are there any changes in the 23-24 amendment as it comes?
I'm sorry?
Are there any changes in the 23-24 amendment? The latest one that includes the recent agreements?
Yes, we did go back and adjust some numbers there to reflect part of what we understand the agreement to be.
Okay.
So we've captured that to account for the budgetary allocation and make sure we're in compliance with the budget act.
And then to continue that question, is there any change from the presentation we saw at the workshop relating to the 24-25 budget because of the TA?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Benefits, retirement. The big piece, the big unknown right now is what's going to happen with state revenue and as it relates to the 147C money, which has just been a pass-through for years on the retirement benefits. We also don't know what's going to happen with the PA 152, which is the hard cap legislation. So we are going to continue to, all districts should continue to monitor that information coming out of Lansing. And the budget amendment, probably, we've been historically doing this in December, will be very critical for all organizations because we just don't have the full picture right now. Looking at that, so you take 23, the recommended budget that we just set, 800,000, carry some of that activity over. We do anticipate having about a $3.9 million deficit for the 24-25. We are recommending to the board that we use fund balance there as administration continues to work collaboratively. Again, there are significant state dollars unaccounted for right now. We don't know what that's going to be. We can anticipate that we are going to do better than the $241 that we're assuming, but that's the information we have right now. So part of that will be taken care of, but we have talked about and we have been transparent that there's a structural issue that needs to be addressed, and administration has been working consistently on doing that. So there will be a continual effort toward that. So looking at the overall financial picture, we're conscientious, and you'll see this in a minute. Actually, you'll see it here. All districts are pulling against this funding cliff as we had an influx of resources. We increased staff to support student need, and now most districts, including Troy now, is seeing a decline in enrollment. So there's an adjustment and a reconciliation of resources, and that's going to need to take place. And we've talked about that for several years now. And this gives you the projections as we see them. So we have the $800,000, small $800,000 surplus, and absent any additional, we make some assumptions as it relates to enrollment and foundation allowance. And so you can see that the structural issue, if left unaddressed, will continue to compound over the next couple of years.
Just to clarify, that 800,000 should be in black?
It should be back, yes.
It's not in parentheses.
It's not in parentheses.
It's not in parentheses, so forgive, please. Some historic slides here. We're not going to go through these much. The board has been privy to some of the history. Here's that reconciliation. It is the expectation of the cabinet and the administration that we will continue to work to right size based on our enrollment realities. Foundation allowance history here gives you some, and then the fund balance percentage. Here is the chart that people have seen, and this has gotten a lot of attention from media sources and stuff. How did we spend federal dollars? This provides the landscape of how Troy School District spent. You can see I referenced it in the 24-25 school year. We'll spend the last $340,000 or so dollars. We have many ancillary funds, special revenues that we also need to account for. We have two capital projects funds right now. We do plan on making that one after this year. That 2009 capital projects fund should be closed out with all of its activity at the end of the 24-25 school year. The 23 capital projects fund is the one that we just started. We sold the $190-some million worth of bonds. That activity is ongoing, including Smith Middle School, just to remind the community, Smith Middle School playgrounds, athletic facilities, furniture are all ongoing. So that's exciting work that's continuing to take place, and we continue to use the sinking fund to support the operations of the district. Putting those into numbers, looking at the capital projects funds, as I just referenced, we'll spend the last $1 million or so of that. 23 capital projects fund, those are plug numbers. We plan on maybe $87 million worth of expenditures this year. We will be spending a lot of money, much of which you have already approved contractually on those major projects that I just alluded to. The sinking fund continues to be a great resource. Again, we maintain a fund balance in there intentionally to make sure that we can do summer work. Our special revenue funds include the food service fund, the TCC grant fund, which is the Troy Career Center of Michigan Works, our community service fund, and our preschool and student activities. We account for all of those. Our food service fund continues to be very, very healthy. The universal meals has certainly increased participation. It's also enhanced revenues, and we will continue to be investing in those programs. We've informed the board and the community on several occasions throughout my tenure here that this is a very prescribed revenue or prescribed fund, and we have to follow a lot of rules as it relates to USDAA guidelines. So we will continue to work with our food service department on that. Our Career Center fund isn't in and out. We account for the activities of Michigan Works. We're a fiduciary agent to that program.
You skipped one, I think.
Skipped one.
Yeah, there you go.
Community Service Fund takes care of our activities of our community education enrichment programs as well as our care programs. We do anticipate some enhanced revenues. Just to inform the community, we have looked at our fee-based structures, and in the school district, and given the inflationary effects that we've seen in the community and the pressures on wages and benefits, there was a necessity to increase the fee-based, the fees that we're charging in these programs. So we have accounted for some of those assumptions as well as increased the expenditures related to running those programs. We do have a healthy fund balance in the community service fund, and that will continue to be a strategic fund to be used. Preschool fund. Yes, preschool fund is our new preschool. I just call it new, it's 5 years old, but it's amazing to think of that. But we continue to run a robust program there. And we have a healthy fund there as well to continue to reinvest and make sure that program is viable and competitive. And our activity funds, again, we are basically a fiduciary agent to activities as it relates to student activities and such in our buildings, and we account for that by compliance, for compliance. And that's a quick 15 minutes, I see, review of a lot of activity and a lot of work. Any questions?
We'll start up here. Any questions up here? I think we did that all in the workshop. All the questions came up at that point. And then do we need to then open up for public comment?
Yeah, there's an opportunity for public comment.
We don't have any written ones, do we?
There is no
Okay,
request
related to
specific
that.
to the budget, but if there are any questions from the audience, now would be the opportunity to ask those questions.
Yeah, are there any questions regarding the budget? Come on, my synchronized swimmers, come on, let's get some good accounting questions to Mr. West. Okay, well, you got off easy. Thank you for that.
Thank you. They'll be asked for approval on the consent agenda.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, that moves us then into recognition. And Mr. Fulcher. Good evening.
Good evening, Dr. Macheski, Board of Education. Normally, I would never want to follow a Rick West presentation, but tonight I am happy to follow that one. Thank you, Rick West. So I have the honor and privilege of helping us recognize the 2024 Troy and Athens United synchronized swim team, who once again were recognized as state champions in Michigan. This is their 8th state championship for the team, unprecedented. Overall this season, the team had a record of 5 wins and 2 losses, and this was the closest margin ever at a state championship. Only 4 points separated the first and second place teams, so it was a close one. Our team had 5 different routines medal in the state competition. So we had 3rd place for what's called duet, 1st place in trio, 2nd place for the tech team, and a 1st and a 3rd place in combo. This team won 6 of 12 medals in individual state figure competition, including 1st place in 3 out of 4 categories. So a very highly decorated team who worked hard all season and showed for it with a state championship. So at this time, I'm going to call up our athletes who are here and recognize them. Ladies and gentlemen, when you hear your name called, you can come up. Get your certificate. Parents, you are welcome to come on up and take a picture as your child gets the certificate. And then we'll call up the coaches as well, and we'll take a team picture if that's okay. We have 25 team members. It's June 20th and kind of after school, so about half the team is here tonight, so we thank them for being able to be here. So we're going to start with Rebecca Austin. Next we have Aaron Choi. Sonia Dodano. Jessica Dang.
Mr. Fulcher,
Yes.
if you want to encourage parents, if they'd like to come up and take a picture, by all means, please.
Yes, parents.
You don't have to stand back there. It's okay. By all means, please. Thank you.
Ainsley Giorio.
See, she's not shy. There you go. Easy turn around. There you go.
Shatakshi Gupta is not here tonight. Shatakshi. Ana Sofia Hernandez Gomez. Needy Modi is not able to be with us. Say Park is not able to be with us tonight as well. Himasri Pupala, not with us tonight. As well as Lucy Rosati, who's not able to be here tonight. Parker Salaji is here tonight. And I want to mention that Parker is not the first male to be on a state synchronized swim team. He was a great team member this year, and as Coach Uchwal reminded me to remind everybody here that when you watch the Olympics this summer, synchronized swim is a male and female, both gendered sport that we'll see this summer. So Parker, great addition to the team. So continuing on, Avani Singh, Kate Sivier, and Kara Sun, all team members not able to be here tonight. Isabel Tamana. Sarita Velareddy and Sasha Vivek are unable to be here tonight. Next we have Sia Wu. Greta Burt is not able to be with us tonight. Next, we have Faith Frederick. Crystal Hensley. Mackenzie Johnson is not able to be with us tonight. Sakura Mori. And our final team member, Gwendolyn Schaefer. So before we congratulate the team, I also would like to bring up our coaches and congratulate our coaches, because as great as the team and as hardworking as they are, it doesn't happen without the leadership of our coaches. So Nicole Cervantes, one of our assistant coaches. Beth Borland is one of our assistant coaches who's not able to be with us tonight. Erica Mooney is also an assistant coach with us tonight. And finally, head coach Lori Uchwal-Hollier. And let me also say that I started this off by saying that this is the 8th state championship for the synchronized swim team. All 8 state championships have come under Coach Lori. So congratulations. Would like anybody wants a team picture, we'll try to squeeze you in and get one more. But how about one more round of applause for our 2024 state championship team?
Do you want to do the ASBO one?
Yes, I do. Actually, I figured you would. Unless you want to. Do you want to?
No, okay. I do, before we go to the ASBO one, I just want to say, just reference Tim, that this is his last meeting, he's retired.
Yes, yes, yeah, absolutely.
Soccer gets a street sign, they need a street sign, they've got 8 wins. I know. They should have street signs.
You want to? Oh, absolutely, yeah, come on.
Soccer has won
Yeah.
multiple years, like stable out, so. But they couldn't have
He's just going to call, reference the all-state teams that we have. Oh, okay. And then I'll mention him. Okay.
That's impressive. That's a
That'll be
dynasty.
good.
Yeah. 8 wins.
It's a good trivia question. Who's the most, which coach in the district history has the most state championships?
Is it her? It's Lori?
Okay. Not even signing close.
Dude, she came up and said, "Why am I not surprised?" You know?
One other thing before I step away, I'd like to mention, also in our winter sports season, we had 3 teams recognized for being Team Academic All-State, which means that the team GPA average was one of the top 10 in the state, which is quite an accomplishment. When we talk about educational athletics, this epitomizes that. So I just want to recognize really quick that our Athens varsity girls basketball team was girls team academic all-state. We just want to recognize head coach Stacy Klump for that. Also the Athens varsity boys basketball team was recognized for boys team academic all-state under head coach Dave Scott. And our 3rd team was the Athens varsity ski team. Was named Team Academic All-State under head coach Tom Liney. So 3 teams.
Stay put.
With that,
Yeah, Mr. Fulcher, just before you leave, I'd just like to, for the sake of the audience and for those at home, to acknowledge Mr. Fulcher, our district-wide AD, who will be retiring, will be leaving us at the end of the month. And Mr. Fulcher reminded me that he and I came into the district right about the same time, 15 years ago. Tim has been nothing short of just fabulous in terms of service to our students, to staff, to our community, as an assistant principal at Bowling Park, as a principal at Smith, and then ultimately in the last several years as a district-wide AD. I again, would be remiss if I didn't say thank you, Tim, for your service to the Troy School District, to the many hundreds and thousands of students and student athletes. We appreciate everything you've done for the Troy School District.
thank you.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you, Dr. Macheski and board, and I just want to say thank you for the opportunity to serve the Troy School District community these past 16 years. It's been a privilege and an honor as both a parent in the community, and the team that we have here on every single level is an incredible, and I'm thankful that I've been able to be a part of it. And while I won't miss some of the things that we all have to deal with, we'll be honest with that, I will greatly miss the people, the great people here. And I'm excited we were able to recognize Matt Jansen coming in, and I know the athletics program in the district will continue to move forward leaps and bounds with his leadership. So thank you again for the opportunity.
Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda is something I've come to love to do every year to embarrass someone who never likes to have the limelight on him. And I want to talk about the ASBO Excellence in Financial Reporting for fiscal year 2023. The Association of School Business Officials International's Certificate of Excellence in Financial Reporting Program. Wow, how's that for a title? Honored the Troy School District for excellence in the preparation and issuance of a high-quality, comprehensive annual financial report for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2023. The Certificate of Excellence in Financial Reporting has been created by ASBO International to enable business officials to achieve a high standard of financial reporting. We're very pleased to recognize Rick West, Deputy Superintendent, Candace Moynihan, former Finance Director, and the finance team for their hardworking staff for all their effort throughout the year and for their continued dedication to excellence. And that's a lot of words in there, but what I want to emphasize is that I did look to see is this a participation award? Does everybody get this? And the answer is that they don't. It's typically less than 10% of districts around the state have achieved this status, and Mr. West and his team has achieved this status, I think, every year since he's been with us. It's a phenomenal thing, and you know, there are many reasons I'm saddened to see you go, but knowing that we have this team behind us consistently delivering this quality and this excellence is phenomenal. It's something you should be extremely proud of. And I know you don't like people calling you up and talking to you about stuff like this, but this is something I'm just really happy to be able to say. I'm confident we'll probably be having you come over next year for the 2024. We'll see if it goes that way. But in the meantime, I just want to say it's wonderful that you're ending your service with us with one more ASBO award. So congratulations. I don't know if you'd like to come up and say a few words, but we just want to. Do we have a plaque? Oh,
No, I appreciate it, and I say it every year, and I honestly and genuinely need to deflect it to the people that do the work. We have an amazing finance staff. I've been blessed to serve this district for 10 years now, and I, you know, it's been the work of the finance office that has really won and been awarded this. So they get the credit, I get the award, and it's great. And I can assure you, you're being left in good hands. So I look forward to what Dan and our will do here, and I think they'll continue that service of excellence. So.
Okay, fantastic. We have a plaque. So that's a cool way to exit, don't you think? I think it is. Okay. Now we move to Resolution C. 3C is a resolution in support of gun safety and safe gun storage. May I have a resolution, please? Dr. Wilson?
Whereas the safety and well-being of our students, teachers, and staff is a top priority in the Troy School District. Whereas firearm-related deaths is the leading cause of death among children and adolescents. Whereas rates of death from firearms among ages 14 to 17 are now 22.5% higher than motor vehicle-related death rates in the U.S. Middle school and high school age children are now more likely to die as a result of a firearm injury than from any other single cause of death. Whereas according to a report from the U.S. Secret Service, in incidents of gun violence on school grounds, 76% of attackers acquired their firearm from the home of a parent or another close relative. Whereas every year, roughly 350 children under the age of 18 unintentionally shoot themselves or someone else. Whereas nearly 22,000 Americans die by firearm suicide every year, including over 950 children and teens. Whereas research indicates that 47% of firearm owners who have children living in their homes do not safely secure at least one of their weapons. Whereas evidence strongly suggests that secure firearm storage is an essential component to any effective strategy in keeping our community safe. Whereas keeping students, teachers, and staff safe from the threat of gun violence should be the responsibility of all adult stakeholders within our school district. Whereas in order to continue with preventative measures to increase student and school safety, we must act now. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the board directs the superintendent to periodically communicate the importance of safe firearm storage and other firearm safety and violence prevention measures during Gun Violence Awareness Month, and to disseminate material on an annual basis stressing the importance of secure storage of firearms by including this in our annual notification materials. Be it therefore resolved that the board and superintendent will continue to work with local law enforcement agencies, medical and mental health agencies, and nonprofit organizations to collaborate and increase efforts to inform district parents of their obligations regarding secure storage of firearms in their homes, as well as other gun violence prevention safety measures. Be it therefore resolved that this resolution shall not be construed to conflict with any existing Michigan or federal law.
Support.
Thank you for resolution by Dr. Wilson, supported by Ms. Sané. Does anyone want to offer any comments about this resolution? Dr. Wilson?
I just think that, especially in light of what happened in Rochester last weekend, that it's just really important to publicly state how much we care about kids, how much we care about the safety of kids, and that this resolution is about wanting to make sure that adults are being responsible and making sure that we're doing everything within our power to keep kids safe. And just, like I said, the news this weekend just makes this all the more pertinent tonight.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Again, we had something happen very close to home. And I'm sure it's a place that many people within our own Troy community have taken their own kids or grandchildren to enjoy the water. And for my part, and I said this after the Michigan State shooting, we can't become numb to these things. And we, as a district, are committed to keeping our kids safe, but we can't do it alone. It really is a community effort, and it's not just the support of parents, but the entire Troy community. There are limits to what we can do, and this really is I would say it's a community-wide effort for all of us to keep our kids safe here.
Great, thank you. Okay. I just have one question, which is, this is our second year of this resolution. When do we normally communicate the awareness for properly securing firearms? Do we do that in the fall?
Yeah, this is part of our annual notifications.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It goes out as part of the annual notification.
Great, thank you. All right,
Just a question. Does the county still give out gun locks for gun owners who might want them?
I don't know the answer to
They had
that.
a program, I don't know if
Yeah.
that's still in place.
So that would probably be worth checking before we
Yeah.
do the notifications. So if there's ability to do that, we can at least show people where they can go to get that.
Provide that information.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that would be great. Thank you.
I'll list that.
Okay. All those in favor of the resolution, please say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Opposed, say no. Thank you. Resolution passes. Okay, at this point, we're going to take about a 5-minute recess so that people who came to be honored can sneak out and enjoy the rest of their evening. You're welcome to stay for all our other business, but if not, this is the right time to go. So we'll take about 5 minutes, and then we'll resume. Thanks. Okay, we're gonna plow ahead here because we have everybody back. We'll start with additions and deletions.
There are none this evening?
Thank you. Public communication on agenda items.
There are none.
Thank you. Okay, that moves us to the general consent agenda. And this is a long list tonight. So this consists of A, minutes of the May 7th, 2024 special Board of Education meeting, B, minutes of the May 7th, 2024 closed session meeting, C, minutes of the May 7th, 2024 Board of Education workshop, D, minutes of the May 21st, 2024 Board of Education meeting, E, treasurer's report from April of 2024, F, MHSAA membership resolution for the 2024-2025 school year, G, the 2023 to 2024 budget amendment, H, the 2024-2025 budget appropriations resolution, and finally I, approval of committee for instructional minutes. May I have a resolution, please? Mr. Hoff.
Be it therefore resolved that the Troy Board of Education takes action to approve items A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and I on the consent agenda.
I'll support.
No, really? That's so unusual. Okay, so we have a resolution by Mr. Hoff, supported by Mr. Hopt. Any questions or comments on the consent agenda? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, say no. Thank you. Resolution passes. All right, that moves us to personnel. Some happy news tonight.
Good evening, Dr. McChesney.
Good evening.
Board. Nice to see everyone this evening. I have three exciting topics for you as it relates to personnel this evening. The first is an administrative appointment for a special education supervisor. With that, I'm pleased to recommend the appointment of Mr. Trevor Harker to the position of special education supervisor at the services building. Mr. Harker started his career as a special education teacher in Birmingham Public Schools. He moved on to become a special education director for Total Education Solutions. He has most recently served as the Bloomfield Hills Special Education Supervisor since 2019. Mr. Harker holds a Bachelor of Science in General Education with a specialization in special education from Eastern Michigan University and a master's degree in autism spectrum disorder from Eastern Michigan University. In 2019, he was awarded his Education Specialist Certification in Leadership from Wayne State University. Mr. Harker is a member of the Michigan Association of Administrators of Special Education and Special Education Administrators of Oakland County. With your approval, Mr. Harker will begin his supervisory position at the services building beginning on July 1st, 2024.
All right, thank you, John. We're being asked to support the appointment of a new special education supervisor. May I have a resolution, please? Ms. Alish?
Be it therefore resolved that the Board of Education issues a 2-year probationary administrative contract without tenure in the administrative position to Mr. Trevor Harker, who will begin his duties as special education supervisor effective July 1, 2024.
Support.
Thank you. Resolution by Ms. Alish, supported by Mr. Hoff. Are there any questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Opposed, say no. Thank you. Welcome to Mr. Harker.
Mr. Harker,
Would you like to introduce do you have any family members here you'd like to introduce?
I do. I'm lucky today to have my mother and father here with me.
Wonderful. Make them stand up.
Coworkers. And my boyfriend as well, Abraham.
All right, well, welcome.
I have to say, after that interview process, it was really nice to sit back and have somebody else talk about myself. But I'm very excited and honored to be here with the Troy Public School District as well as serving the community. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Trevor.
next up I have consideration for an administrative appointment for the Assistant Superintendent of Business Services. I am pleased to recommend the appointment of Mr. Daniel Trudell to the position of Assistant Superintendent of Business Services. Mr. Trudell began his career as an intern at Plant Moran and continued at Plant Moran until 2016. He then served as the accounting supervisor at the Avondale School District. In 2020, Mr. Trudell moved to the position of Assistant Superintendent of Financial Services in Avondale. He has a Bachelor of Arts in Accounting from Oakland University. He became certified as a CPA in 2014. He has also served as a baseball coach at various levels in the Sterling High School. With your approval, Mr. Trudell will begin his duties as Assistant Superintendent of Business Services as of July 1, 2024.
All right, thank you, John. We're being asked to support a new Assistant Superintendent for Business Services. May I have a resolution, please? Dr. Philippart.
Be it therefore resolved that the Board of Education issues a 2-year probationary administrative contract without tenure in the administrative position to Mr. Daniel Trudell, who will begin his duties as Assistant Superintendent, Business Services, effective July 1, 2024.
Thank you. A resolution by Dr. Philippart, supported by Ms. Alish.
It was Dr. Wilson.
Oh, was it Dr. Wilson?
Yes.
Sorry. Okay, we're going to go with the doctors on this one. We'll go Dr. Wilson. Okay, all right. Sorry, you've just been removed from the record. Okay. Are there any questions or comments on this appointment? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Opposed, say no. Thank you. Resolution passes. Welcome. Mr. Trudell. Mr. Trudell.
Thank you, Board of Education. Thank you, Dr. McChesky, John. The interview process was incredible. You could really get a sense of the people in this district and the values I think that this administration and board has to those individuals throughout the district. Thank you to Mr. West as well. It's kind of been unspoken to him, I will say, but you've kind of been somewhat of a mentor to me from afar. You know, I admire everything that he's accomplished in his career. Really aspired me to kind of jump to this level and into a district like Troy. And I look forward to a lot of the relationships with our EA here. I'm glad to see that you guys have your contract for approval tonight. And don't tell my prior district, but blue is my favorite color. I do look forward to collaborating with them as well. And I look forward to some great things here in Troy. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Welcome. Oh, is your family, do you have family members here?
Yes.
Oh, you got to stand up. All right, very good.
All right. We have one other bit of information for you this evening under 7C.
Just a small thing.
Just a small thing. A consideration for a Troy Education Association contract ratification. A tentative agreement between representatives of the Troy Board of Education and the Troy Education Association, MEA, NEA, TEA, was reached on June 10th, 2024. The TEA membership voted to ratify the agreement on June 19th, 2024. The tentative agreement is a contract for the period of February 1, 2024 through April 15, 2027. Attached, you will see a list of modifications to the new collective bargaining agreement that is presented to the board for its consideration.
Okay, thank you, John. We're being asked to consider ratification of a new collective bargaining agreement with our teachers union. May I have a resolution, please?
Be it therefore,
Sorry.
I just needed to it. Be it therefore resolved that the Board of Education hereby ratifies and adopts the tentative agreement reached on June 10th, 2024 between the representatives of the Troy Board of Education and the Troy Education Association /MEA/NEA for the period of February 1st, 2024 through April 15th, 2027.
Support.
I have a resolution by Ms. Anais, supported by, I'm going with Dr. Philippart on this one. Are there any questions or comments that anyone would like to make? Go ahead.
Yeah. So I want to thank the TA and the district bargaining teams for their hard work in reaching a contract as close to the end of the school year as is possible. I think it means a lot to the district and to the teachers and the community at large. And I want to say throughout the process, one thing has been clear, and that is that our parents and our community really value our teachers, as do we here on the board. I also want to thank the TA in sharing in our vision for a much improved calendar. With the TA, we've been able to achieve a calendar that really better reflects our community, gives us more full weeks of school, gives families additional flexibility with all levels having the same days off. I know some of those things, can seem like they're not that big of a deal, but they really are, especially if you're a parent who has children at multiple levels. And we get a shorter school year out of all of that too. So I really do, I want to thank everybody who was involved in the process. I wanted to thank Kendra for her support and her work. From our team, though, I really do want to give a special thank you to Chris Griefer, who's worked over the last year and really committed herself to delivering a new and better calendar for, I think, for our entire community. She was instrumental in that effort, so I really want to give a special thanks to her.
Great, thank you. Any other comments? Go ahead, Dr. Wilson.
I was just going to say, I once heard a comedian say there's no such thing as fun for the whole family, and I feel like contract negotiations, you're looking at trying to create something for a multi-generational, multi-ethnic, blended community. And so I just really want to thank Jason and Scott, John and Brian, for leading teams through this, for being committed to staying at the table to get it done. I know that it's really hard when you have competing interests, and so I thank you for your willingness to stick in it and get it done, and to do that. And again, thank you to the calendar team, to Chris and everyone who worked to make something that I think is really going to make our community grateful. So thank you.
Go ahead.
And I would just add one thing. I think well stated by my two colleagues, but I also want to thank again both the TEA bargaining team and our team for, contract negotiations are tough, but I think this year the level of respect and professionalism, I think, even when in conflict, even when disagreement, makes me proud. And I guess that's why, as tough as things were, there was never a doubt in my mind that we would be where we are here today with a contract that hopefully meets the needs of your team and meets the, fiduciary responsibilities that the board and the district has. So, well done to the team for that.
Any other comments? I just want to weigh in on this because I know this was a long and difficult delivery, but the baby was beautiful. When we looked at the contract and walked through the final proposal, I know everybody feels battered and bruised on both sides. It's been a long time, but in my 13 years on the board, this contract felt like more than anyone I had seen before, that it provides some really good benefits for both sides of the bargaining table. And usually I'm just relieved when we have a contract, and when I saw this, I was excited. I looked and said, this is really good. So John, I know that you've aged 42 years in the last 7 months. Jason probably as much or more. So for both of your teams, on behalf of the board, thank you again, formally. I've been saying thank you constantly for the last 2 weeks, but thank you to everyone for sticking with it and delivering on what I think is a beautiful baby. So thank you. All right, if there are no other comments, all those in favor of ratification say yes. Yes. Opposed say no. Thank you. Oh, we have a new contract.
Members of our bargaining team here.
Okay. I was going to say, why don't we take like a 2-minute break, and then unless you want to stay and learn about buying ovens, people can enjoy the rest of their evening here. We'll take another break. Okay, looks like everyone's going to stick with us for the rest of the way. Okay, so curriculum.
There is none this evening.
Thank you. That moves us to business. Item 9. 9A is serving lines for Bolin, Larson, and Wass Elementary School. Mr. West, you're still with us.
If we could make that any more anticlimactic than following up with what we're about to. I shouldn't have even allowed that. This is how I'm going out right here.
Right. Unox ovens. There you go.
You know what? I didn't even bring my resolution. Hang on.
Here, you can grab mine.
We have.
Yeah, okay.
This isn't a skit. I really just.
They are gold stars.
He's clearly ready to go.
Yeah, he's done. He's checked out. He's phoning it in. So,
Well, I'm filibustering here. Congratulations to John and the TEA. I just echo the sentiments of the board and Dr. Macheski. It was a long process, but nice work. So here we go. Business A, consideration, serving lines, Bolin Larson and Was. Serving lines for Bullen, Larson and Was are in need of replacement. Competitive pricing was obtained through the Moore Commodity and Commercial Food Purchasing Cooperative. Pricing was compared and reviewed by Gail Moran, Food Service Liaison. It's recommended the bid be awarded as stated below.
Thank you for being asked to consider the purchase of new serving lines for Bolin, Larson, and Was. May I have a resolution, please? Dr. Philippart?
Be it therefore resolved that the purchase of serving lines be awarded to Stafford Smith Incorporated in the amount of $317,179, and that this amount be approved as an expenditure of the Food Service Fund.
Support.
A resolution by Dr. Philippart, supported by Ms. Alish. Are there any comments or questions about this purchase? Go ahead, Ms. Alish.
Just this one, and it's going to go along with the next one, the food service fund. That's the one where we do have some money that we need to spend down, right?
That's correct, yes.
Okay. Any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, say no. All right, you got one down. If you can get the other one passed.
I should have really reversed these because I personally believe serving lines are more
More exciting? I don't know.
than ovens, but ovens at IAE Larson Smith are in need of replacement. The Food Service Equipment Co-op program was used to obtain competitive pricing. Pricing was compared and reviewed by Gail Moran, Food Service Liaison. It's recommended the bid be awarded as stated below.
I mean, let's be clear, it's Unox ovens. It's not just any ovens, so.
No.
Okay, all right.
It's the good ones.
Okay, but that's the good ones. Okay, we're being asked to purchase replacement Unox ovens for IAE Larson and Smith. May I have a resolution, please? Ms. Alish.
Be it therefore resolved that the purchase of 3 Unox ovens be awarded to Gold Star Products in the amount of $90,589.75, and that this amount be approved as an expenditure of the Food Service Fund.
Support.
A resolution, Ms. Alish, supported by Mr. Hopt. I know he always cares about ovens. So Ms. C's jumping in there. Good. Are there any comments or questions about our new ovens? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, say no. Thank you. You went out on a unanimous gold star. Well done. Okay, that takes us to public communication on non-agenda items. I believe we have 3.
We have 3.
Correct. Okay, and is yours, is the timer set up for you?
I did not set it up. Okay, I'll do it.
You just let me know when you're ready.
It should be.
Is that oars? Is that stores? Okay, all right. Okay, so for my public speakers, just go through the rigmarole of this. So you have 3 minutes. This is a chance for you to address the board. It's not an opportunity for a conversation. If there's anything that we need to follow up with you, if you would request that, we will follow up with you afterwards. This is it's really a good chance for you to, read your comments into the record. Please address the board, not the rest of the room, and be polite. And if you could tell me if you are a Troy resident or if you have any kids in the district when you come up as you introduce yourself, that would be great. So I have Mr. Walt Storrs. That's my first name here. Good evening.
Good evening. Good to see you this evening. And I live directly east of Smith and Martell Schools on Martell Drive, 5676 Martell Drive. And I've experienced a serious flooding problem. I've lived there 47 years, and in those 47 years there have been 2 major flood events where the first one I had water flowing on both sides of my house. And my neighbor, Arun Wadawin, who couldn't be here, decided to pick his daughter up to the airport instead of coming here. He has it worse. There's a drain behind his house that the debris flows down and gets plugged in there. Now, the first event happened about the time that the new school, what is it? It's not intermediate school, but
The preschool?
huh?
The
Yeah,
preschool?
About the time that was finished, and I drove up there, I didn't see any stormwater detention. I assumed that, hey, this massive coverage of the lot's what led to our problem. And then I hear about the Smith School being constructed. So I sent the city of Troy, or the mayor of Troy, a letter back in December. I sent you all a letter back in December also. You didn't get it till January because of the break. But I was disappointed I didn't get a response because I laid out what I was concerned about. So anyway, it's not good for an 80-year-old guy knee-deep in water out in the street at midnight with a rake cleaning the thing out. So now, on the good side, Arun and I had a meeting with the city engineer, Mr. Finley, the other day, and we had quite a good discussion, and he informed me that you have underground storage, you know, at the new school. I assume something like that's planned for Smith, but we had quite a good conversation about the problems that Arun saw when in the debris that comes down that ditch. And anyway, we brainstormed a couple of ideas. Arun had more ideas than I did, but I wonder if it'd be possible if Arun and I could sit down with whoever the engineer is on the Smith district, because I think the biggest part of our problem now, after what I learned the other day, is the debris and trash washing down that ditch and plugging that inlet on that drain, which causes it to overflow into Arun's backyard with the street. And then, of course, the grates get plugged up with debris, and then it's got to go somewhere. So, you know, when I bought the house, I knew it was the lowest house on the street, but it was the highest street in the subdivision. So I thought, well, we're good to go. But we're not good to go. So anyway, that's what I wanted to share with you. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Storrs, I'll be in contact with you.
Okay, next I have Alex Karpowitz. Good evening.
Good evening. During the June 6th workshop meeting, the board discussed a Project 2026 blueprint. While it was encouraging to see the board attempt to articulate a future vision, the key results listed are not actual results, they are objectives. To demonstrate this, here's a fun thought exercise. Were the students of the June graduating class deeper learners than the prior graduating class? Have they built more capacity? If deep learning and building capacity are the two pillars of TSD academic strategy, why were they absent from the discussion of academic results in the November workshop and subsequently leveraged as marketing copy? The absence of quantifiable academic goals for a district of over 12,000 students is like trying to fly an airplane without an altimeter. Student success, spanning special education to honors, is far too important to be subjective. It must be objective and quantifiable to drive accountability. If the board is looking for guidance, I've shared Detroit Public Schools 2027 blueprint. While TSD proficiency results exceed DPS, Detroit Public Schools has demonstrated vision and leadership by articulating quantifiable academic goals. Troy School District students deserve the same degree of accountability, and that is why I'm running for school board.
Thank you. And then I have Mrs. Tracy Owens. Good evening.
Hi. Next year, all three of my children will not be returning to Troy schools. Over the past 6 years, I have been targeted by community members for speaking up for my children. Imagine a mom trying to get her child the help they need and being met with hostility. Special education students in this district, especially students with dyslexia, are not receiving a free and appropriate public education because of central office administrative decisions. In the 2022-2023 school year, $9,865,711 were spent on comp ed services in this district. Comp ed means a student with an IEP or a 504 receives makeup services, and a student is entitled to these funds if a school district is found to not have been providing FAPE. Troy has one of the highest percentages of comp ed in this state and would be much higher if more parents actually knew how to navigate the system. After the release of the New Solutions K-12 report, I can say my special education children are getting out of Troy just in time. I do not know who approved the funding for this, as it was never brought in front of this board for a vote, but I am concerned that this district paid $145,000 to a private company that is run and founded by Nathan Levinson to evaluate anything. His report and suggestions will lead to even more comp ed spending and the continued dismantling of special education services, which is not a surprise considering he has zero experience in a classroom, let alone a special education classroom. Levinson has no educational training at all. His background is in economics and business administration, and he ran his father's manufacturing company for 14 years before somehow landing a role as an assistant superintendent for 2 years, then in a superintendent for 3 years, before abruptly resigning because of an impropriety that was found during arbitration against the school during a sex scandal. Levinson is not qualified, and any one of you had taken the time to do a Google search, you would have seen all these red flags as well. This report is a prime example of how many on this board are derelict in their duties as a school board member. Under Michigan law, a Board of Education has the ultimate responsibility for school district operations, including control of the expenditures and receipts of school funds. Unfortunately, we have many in this community who do not understand all the nuances of public education. Being a school board member should not be a popularity contest for a bunch of cheerleading PTA parents or even a partisan race. We need qualified people sitting in those seats, people who understand the education system, how school finances work, and who will look up facts and data instead of members that just rubber stamp the decisions from central office administrators under the guise of, but they're the experts. Troy needs experts sitting up there in those seats who actually care about all kids getting an example. And this is just one issue that I've found.
Thank you, Mrs. Owens. Okay, that moves us to other. Dr. Wilson.
Thanks. I want to wish everybody in the community a happy end of the school year, and thank you to all of the teachers. It's been very fun to see all the end of the year pictures, all of the celebration. Getting to participate in graduation is always fantastic. This bargaining season, I think, has given me extra time to really reflect on what I appreciate about the TSD, and also to think about places where I want to see the district grow. As I was thinking about knowing my seat on the school board is up for re-election, I was reminded that when I was doing my research for my PhD 15 years ago, I was painfully aware of the way that technology is changing education. My PhD research is in the relationship between digital, print, and visual media, and looking at that intersection, especially 15 years ago when technology was changing, it made me realize that there's always camps in education. There's the early adopters camps, there's the I'm gonna stick to tradition camp, there's the wanting to look for middle ground camp. And even as I was trying to formalize my own research as everything was changing, it just made me remember that especially at the governance level, you need to hold research open-handed. If we want to be educational leaders, we have to model being teachable people. We can't be, if we're not teachable, if we're not willing to embrace new ideas and new research, then we can't expect that of our kids. And so one thing that I really appreciate about the Troy School District is that it is full of teachable leaders. And we have a teaching and learning team that is willing to do homegrown curriculum so that they can take the best of different things. And I know that that puts a lot of extra work on our teachers. And we have teachers that want the best for our kids, and I really appreciate and value that we always are keeping the kids at the center. And so because of that, when I talk this season, you get to have casual conversations with teachers and administrators, and I continually hear people care about the well-being and flourishing of kids. And that's the kind of district that I want to be a part of. That's the kind of district that I want to continue to highlight when I do advocacy work at the state level. I think all of us on this board have spent a lot of time this season advocating to people higher up than us for funding. And I think that that work is really important. And so I do plan on seeking re-election for this seat so that I can continue to support stretching of our thinking, of continued world-class education, of a willingness to look at new things and new ideas, and to continue to build the relationships that I have with state leaders, to continue to advocate for fully funded special ed, to continue to advocate for the ability to have sustainable, balanced budgets. And so I will be filing to run for re-election for this seat.
Great. Glad to hear it. Dr. Philippart.
I would just like to echo happy summer to everybody. I hope everyone has an opportunity to have a well-deserved break. And it's, you know, this year has certainly had its ups and downs, but I like to think that we're ending on a high note. And so, again, thanks to everybody who made this year a very successful school year for our students. I just want to give a shout out again to the Troy Foundation for Educational Excellence. They held a very successful golf outing this week. It was great to see, you know, many of our district personnel were able to golf, and also we had amazing support from many of our sponsors who do business with the district. Not sure what the final total of that event is, but that is an important element for the grants that the TFEE is able to award to our teachers. And again, this year we had a new kind of twist to the grants, which we are going to continue to build on in years to come, and those were student-led grants, of course, assisted by teachers in the background, but this was a great opportunity to give our students a chance to kind of step up and go after things that they are passionate about. So we appreciate all of that support and feel that that was really a great way to end the year. And I have to say, I got the longest drive for the women. I've never run anything before, so it's awesome. Good job. Yeah.
Great. Mr. Hahn.
So yeah, I just want to say happy summer for all the parents and the teachers and the community members. I had, being a parent, it's great to be involved in the end of year activities, and it was kind of bittersweet this year because I'm a fifth grader graduating to middle school, so I just know there's a lot of hard work making that enjoyable for the students and for the kids and for the parents as well, so I appreciate all of that. And I do want to give a shout out to the public library. They do have a great summer reading program that my kids love, so I just want to make sure the community is taking advantage of that. And I know some of the elementary schools are actually open up their libraries every once in a while to check out books, so I just encourage the community members to keep on reading this summer until next year. So.
Great. Salish?
I said the main thing I had to say, but I do want to thank everybody again for their hard work. I think this is a nice way to enter the summer, to have a contract in place. I just want to wish everybody a fun and safe summer, and I want to wish Mr. West a lot of success in his new position. And you know, and I've said it before, and you know, we had a budget presentation. Before I came on the board, I didn't really, you know, you think of a school district as teaching kids, and that's what it is, but in order to make all of this work and keep the lights on and keep everything going, you really do have to have a top-notch finance department, and I don't think I ever appreciated how important that was to the functioning of a district. So thank you for all of your work. I wish I'd gotten to work with you a little bit longer, but I wish you the best of luck.
Mr. Hoff?
This is a year of notable achievements from students, from teachers, from everybody. There's been a lot of hard work from central office, from the teacher corps that has put in valuable time to produce their craft and to inspire young students to learn, and I appreciate all their hard work as well, because without them we are not the Troy School District as we know it. But I do want to take special notice to my friend Mr. West. For 10 years I have believed in him, even his presentations, albeit long, have been thorough, but they have been appreciated. But I just want to sum it up for saying that I have recently come across that fits him perfectly. What I found was a saying that says, "Everything you are is the very thing the world needs more of." That is exactly sums up how I feel about you as a friend and as somebody who helped me understand so much in finance through this district. So I do thank you and salute you for all your hard work.
Right? How do I follow
Yeah,
that?
yeah, go ahead. Come on.
First of all, I do want to thank everyone for a wonderful year. First, start off with congratulating all the graduates at different levels, from the kindergarten to elementary to middle school to high school. They've all done a great job throughout the year and going off to do great things. And I want to thank everybody, the teachers, the administrators, for a wonderful year. I know it was a difficult year with the long bargaining sessions and all, but I want to thank both the administration as well as the TEA for being patient. Just like anything else, we don't always get everything we want, but when both sides are happy and we don't get everything, but still are happy, that's a good happy medium, and I congratulate both the sides for a great achievement. The other things that I wanted to bring up is the great schools that we have. Reminds me of Hamilton and the situation that happened recently, and how our high school teams have embraced and welcomed our little kiddos from Hamilton and made this an amazing experience. This is what Troy is all about. And I think this is what makes us be here, is to see all of that, to see the young kids who want to be, who are taken care of by the high schoolers who all of a sudden became the adults and took care of them. So appreciate every one of those that have happened. And I do want to remind summer, while you want to have fun with your families and relax, it's also the time when you will have some amount of reading loss. So I want to encourage all the parents and learning loss is more like it. So encourage all the parents and families to make sure you try and keep up with some of that so that you can continue with your exploring and learning. That's it.
Great. Dr. Macheski?
Yeah, everything's been said so nicely. I did want to acknowledge the Oakland County School Board Association just recently had their meeting to acknowledge school board members from across the county and their service. The Troy School District was extremely well represented. It would be appropriate to recognize Dr. Philippart for her 16 years of service. Congratulations, Dr. Philippart. Mr. Schmidt, 12 years of service. Congratulations. Both Amina and Matt became certified board members, as well as were given awards of merit, and they are examples of board members that have in the past joined this board and have immediately jumped into the learning. They exemplify, as other board members have demonstrated before them, that learning doesn't just take place in the classroom. It starts at the very top, and modeling that at the governance level goes a long way in terms of sending a message to the organization that learning is who we are, it's what we believe in, and we support it at the very top. It makes its way into our classrooms, and it's what makes this place a very good place to learn, and so forth. So I want to acknowledge that Ms. Ani for a Master Board Member Award. Congratulations on that. And then the entire board, as recently mentioned, set the standard of excellence and award of merit. So again, congratulations to the Troy board for that. There's so much that happens behind the scenes that goes unseen, and this board has continued to keep their eyes above the rhetoric and have continued to focus, and that's what's most important. It's continued focus across our school district. That's what allows us to achieve our goals, live into our strategic plan. So I thank you for the work that you do. I also I do want to again acknowledge the bargaining teams, the TEA, Jason, Scott, your team. Thank you for sticking it out. Thank you for working really hard, because I know you worked extremely hard, John and Brian and Chris and Christine and Rick and others and Kendra that jumped in to support that process. It is not easy to land that plane. Given some of the challenges associated with unknowns that exist at the state level, and just a very difficult amount of language that had to be gone through this year. I kept telling people, it's going to get done, it's going to get done. There's a lot that you're not seeing that's happening behind the scenes, but both sides stayed focused, and I appreciate you all for that. No one, until you sit on the team, no one can appreciate just how challenging it is and how stressful it is. I've been there, and I've done it several times, so I know exactly what it's all about. So again, thanks to all of you for doing that. And the summer, although summer is at hand, learning does not stop in the Troy School District. There will be thousands of students this summer learning across our school district at the elementary level all the way through the high school, taking classes, taking credits to get ahead, taking credits to fulfill additional requirements, to catch up, and so forth and so on. But the learning, the sun does not set on the Troy School District, so it's just a fabulous place to be. I'll end by saying congratulations to Kendra for completing your first year with us in the Troy School District. You were fabulous. You really...
She's still here.
Really delivered. Really delivered. Changed some communications in a real positive way. It's not that we weren't positively communicating. We were. But you came in fresh eyes and you took it to another level. So we thank you for that. John, for landing that first plane with the contract and collaboration with the TEA. And then Mr. West for sticking it out for 10 years. We wish you well. We had a chance to celebrate Mr. West yesterday, so I won't go into exactly what was said, aside from to say that we do appreciate the Troy School District is a better place having had you here for 10 years, and I know the Bloomfield Hills School District will benefit from your experiences, from your wit, your wisdom, and your passion, because that's what you're all about. So thank you.
Again, how do I follow that, right? Okay, so I have just two things, and then we can move on to the next problem that we can talk about before everybody leaves. So first, I want to, we went through a number of really wonderful end-of-year celebrations over the last 4 weeks. I mean, the commencements, the completion ceremonies, it's a joyous time. It really is. It's so much fun to see everybody and to see everyone celebrate and to see the joy. It really is. And I think for our teaching staff, for our parents, for our students, it's nice to have these celebrations, but they don't just happen. There are a number of people in our district that are behind the scenes making these celebrations just run like clockwork. So I don't know the names of everybody who does it, but I know there's a lot of work behind these celebrations. So you know who you are in the district. And if you were involved in launching and executing any of these celebrations, I just want to personally thank you. And on behalf of the board, thank you for your hard work, because that is really important to the whole community. So that's the first celebration I wanted to talk about. The second thing is I didn't get a chance to roast him yesterday. So I do want to say one thing that hasn't been said about you, and I want you to remember this. There's a saying, and I'm sure any accountant has heard this saying, which is whenever there's something good, there's always a comment about you must not have let the accountant in the room. You know, if you look at a new product and it's got a lot of neat features in it, or something goes down, it's like, oh, you know, they're ruining, oh, the accountants got involved and ruined it, right? And for 10 years, you have been the creative force behind getting things done that I have raised, that the board has raised, and we've looked and said there's no resources, we don't know how to do it, and then you come in with, what if we did this and this and this? And you know, I think about section 1, I think about the properties that we sold to build the preschool. The fact that we were at the time we knew we needed a preschool, we had no money for that. We're staring at it trying to figure out what to do, and it was like, there's a way we can get there and make it self-sustaining, and that was you. I mean, it was you laying that out. If I think about the Troy Learning Center, when we were looking at, well, we can build a modest building where Old Niles is, and then you said, hey, I've been looking at old buildings. There's this ITT building. Let's go look at it and explore. And I mean, those are two big examples, but it happens all the time. I mean, I have watched so many instances where we are trying to figure out, we don't have state funding, we don't have what we're supposed to have, and instead of you being the person in the room saying, we can't afford to do that, you're the one saying, okay, what about this? What about this? Maybe we can get partially there. So you haven't been celebrated for your creativity. And so I just want you to remember, that's something that I have, it's why I'm so sad to see you leave. So I'm going to get choked up. So congratulations on the new position. Deep breath. And we'll miss you. Okay, so now let's talk about new work that's going on in Lansing right now. So budget negotiations are in full swing. So my inside tracks on both sides here are giving us some information, okay? So I've had a number of conversations with Dave Randalls over the last 2 days. I've had a number of conversations with my sources in the Senate. And it's interesting because what you have right now is you have a showdown between the governor and really the MEA. And the governor has not come to the table, and the MEA is saying, come to the table, that we're not negotiating on this. So the MEA is working really hard right now to try to get the full 7% plus the removal of the 3% payroll deduction. As of today, there was a bill in the Senate that passed that is separating those two pieces. Up until now, the MEA and the whole coalition, the educational coalition, has said we're not separating those two pieces. It's 3 plus the 7, and we've got to do both of those things. And but the sense is there was a lot of concern in the legislature over codifying the 7 plus 3 through legislative policy. So it's one thing is to appropriate money. The other is to actually write it in law that it has to be that way. And so there was a decision made today to separate those two pieces. So the bill that passed codifies the 3%, removing the 3% payroll deduction is what they're recommending. And the idea then is that allows perhaps not codified the way we were asking, but it allows from a more flexible appropriations position to then focus on what of the 7% can we get put back to us. So there is progress being made. When I talked to Dave Randalls, he was Eeyore. He was like, this is terrible news. And I'm like, it's terrible news if it's the only step. If the only step is we're not going to worry about the 7%, we're just going to focus on the 3, it's terrible news. But if by separating the two pieces, it allows the 7% or some substantial portion of the 7% to make it through all of the negotiations at the table, then in the end, we will really benefit. So the good news is the conversation that Dave Randalls and Dr. Macheski and I had back in March got this ball rolling. And it continues to roll. And it's pretty exciting to have all the players pushing hard. So the challenge becomes, will the governor come to the negotiating table? And that's the challenge right now. Legislature is looking to her to say, you need to let go of your original proposal and come to the table with us. If she does that, we will do okay. If she doesn't, and really, I would say if the coalition backs down, but it's really the MEA has the biggest muscle power in this argument. If the MEA backs down, we'll lose that money. That's kind of where we're at. But from both sides, as I'm hearing this, it sounds like our side has dug some pretty deep heels into the dirt right now. And if I was a betting man, which I'm not, I would say I think the governor will come to the table. So I have 50.1% confidence that we will get. I don't think we will see the 7% that were transferred that we're asking for, but I would be really shocked if it's south of 4. So I think if we can get to 4 or 5%, it's certainly it still changes the game for us. And the other thing is I've heard chatter that there is desire for revenue enhancement. They don't want to try to pull this off in an election year, but they recognize that the coffers across the whole state are just, no one has enough money because we've basically tax refunded ourselves into bankruptcy. So what they're trying to figure out is how can they do that to fundamentally change the way we fund schools. So I think those conversations will finally happen. Sort of post Prop A, but they probably won't happen until 2025. But the idea right now is let's not codify all of this. Let's just get it done this year and then get some breathing space to then think about how do we fundamentally change the way we structure the funding. So what I'm happy about is that we were there in early March, I think. So like March, April, we weren't getting any traction. We couldn't seem to, the argument was there, but we couldn't get anybody to take the bait. And really April, May, and now into June, the legislature finally is taking the whole coalition seriously. And the MEA was really instrumental in helping us with that.
Where does the House stand in all of this?
The House is in a similar position. I don't have as good of sources in the House. Dave was saying that from Dave's perspective, he thinks that the Senate is where it's going to be made or broken legislatively. So the House has been closer to what the coalition has been asking for all along. Okay. But these are. I mean, the budget team in Lansing is working 80, 90 hours a week right now. You know, the people are coming in the morning and they're leaving around midnight. So there's a lot of conversation, and there's still a strong commitment, at least in the Senate, to deliver a budget by the end of June.
Have you heard anything about the dyslexia bill, and if that is making any changes or anything at all?
No,
Oh, sorry.
they've only been working on budget.
I asked about the dyslexia
No,
bill.
yeah, I was going to say, really, no, right now in both houses, or both chambers, it's full court press on the budget because it's
so
supposed to be,
that's on the whole.
and you know, it certainly, it helps us because when they miss that end of June deadline, we're still trying to figure out what to do. So it's like, you know, I appreciate that they are in a full court press, but I think that full court press might actually work in our favor. I think particularly because the MEA has been so strong and so outspoken about this, that they are basically saying we're not going to approve or endorse the educational budget if it doesn't include this.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're spending political capital, and it's to everybody's benefit at this point. So that's what's going on in the lovely world of politics in Lansing. But I figured everybody would want to know kind of, you know, what's going on with that. But I'm at least happy that the efforts that we poked and said, you know, we went up there and said we don't like the governor's proposal, it's led to this. So this is pretty exciting. If anything happens, there'll be no living with me if we. So we're pretty excited about this as we go through. Okay, so other than wishing everyone a wonderful summer, we will continue to fight in Lansing during the summer until they have a budget, and I think we're done except to announce our July meeting, which I have no idea what day it is.
July 16th.
July 16th, and that's a morning meeting. So it's is it 9:30?
9:30.
9:30 on July 16th, and it's in the in Central Office Building. Okay, thank you. Did I forget anything else? Okay, meeting adjourned.